The barbarians are inside the gates, and they're not going to listen to reason, and they're going to continue making our lives more miserable until we actually decide enough is enough. And the question is, when do we get to that point? Because at the moment, you'll notice that the political class of Britain is deeply obsessed with the idea that 13-year-old white English boys are the problem, as if they're causing all of the stresses and dangers that society currently faces, because Guardianistas like Martha Gill here live in a strange abstract world in which they think the Handmaid's Tale is coming, whereas in fact the real threat is actually on the ground when they're going to the traveling in London on the tube or something like that, or walking home at night or something like this. It's actually not coming from 13-year-old English boys, and we're gonna look into that now. So Martha here is a Guardianista columnist, and she's of course talking about adolescence has brought the attention of the manosphere and radicalized teen boys. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And she's got a thread here, but this is just emblematic of the current discourse that our political system is having. Right, the media, the politicians, the parliament, they're all talking about a fictional show, whereas in reality, the youth on the streets of the UK are currently engaging in machete fights. This is one recently from Birmingham. I think it was 2 days ago. This was first went viral, and you can see here two groups of radicalized 13-year-olds.
Yeah,
probably
they're just Andrew Tate enjoyers, aren't they?
Yeah,
that's all
devotees of the manosphere, men's rights activists, fighting on the streets of Britain in England with machetes. And this, I'm not going to play it because it's pretty violent, but they're striking each other with machetes. It's like, right, sorry, where is your head, Martha? Why do these people have no concept of what's going on? It's because this doesn't come near them.
There's one of two things going on here. Either they're afraid to admit the racial disparity in participation in these chicken shop stab events, or the thing that I think is more likely is that they're aware of it, but what they're doing is they're appealing to children. And this is a sort of iron law of politics, that if anyone ever brings up children, it's because they want to basically take more power for themselves. It's always used as a rhetorical device for someone to give up something.
Well, I think
that's what's going on here. I think it's a lot more cynical.
I think there's a bit more than that, though.
Certainly, yeah.
I think you are right on that, of course. But I think that the issue that Martha has is that she's not part of this community. She doesn't feel that she has any moral authority over this community. She doesn't feel that their issues are in any way connected to her. And so she has got nothing to say about them. They're just... essentially, it's a foreign country to her.
She doesn't look like she goes out stabbing people with machetes, that's true.
Yeah, but no one in her family is going to be involved in this kind of event, right?
That's almost certainly true, yeah.
Yeah, and she's not going to see it around her, or so she thinks. However, things are changing, because you may think, okay, well, the machete fights on the streets of Birmingham, again, it's a foreign country. It's 1 million miles away from me. It's never going to happen. Well, it will, actually. It will come to those areas of England that are still predominantly white English and concerned with television shows and the manosphere radicalizing young boys, right? There is a lot happening in the world at the moment, as we appear to be on the precipice of paradigmatic change, both in Britain and the United States, and indeed the rest of the world. Dramatic realignments are happening both at home and abroad, and if you are a politically informed person, which I assume you are since you're watching this, then it's important to have a comprehensive view of the facts. We have found Ground News as an invaluable tool to keep abreast of developments. Each day they pull in thousands of news articles from around the world and organise them by story in one place. And for each story you'll get a visual breakdown of the story's political bias, reliability and ownership. It also helps us overcome the issue of partisan division. This is a major problem in the social media political ecosphere, and it creates an environment where each side of the divide doesn't understand the other, and in many ways doesn't even share the same facts. It's important not to lose touch with your countrymen, even if they disagree with you. And so Ground News's blind spot feature is particularly useful, as it shows what stories both the left and the right have natural access to. Another superb feature is the ability to switch regions, to view news from the UK, Europe, America, Canada and internationally, so you can easily find out what the primary discourse in those regions are and what is being said on either side. If you want to stay politically informed, Ground News is an essential tool. If you want to support us and stay abreast of these political developments, go to ground.news/Lotus Eaters and sign up for their service, which is available in both the browser and via their app. If you subscribe via our link, you get 40% off the Unlimited Access Vantage package for this month only. We strongly recommend it. Many thanks to Ground News for supporting us and providing such a useful service. So this is Elm Park in Essex, and as you can see, if we zoom out a little bit, the area is dark blue here because I'm looking for who is self-identifies as English, Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish or British, and of course these people are going to be majority English. There is a small amount of diversity in this area here. As you can see, it's about half English in this area, and the other half is it's about quarter Asian and then 10% African. As you can see here, it's about 10% African, and so black. And so this is actually not a very diverse area, especially just in the areas around it. As you can see, the darker the blue is, the more English it is. This is actually one of those areas, and you can scroll outside of London, that have been much more diversified. Where you can see it's only 30% English, and even less in some places, right? So this is the diversification of London going out and encroaching on the English areas and essentially kind of forcing people to flee.
Well, it's like a cancerous tumour, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, it is.
Well, London is sort of infecting the other parts of the body of the country.
Yes, Birmingham and Manchester much the same. But anyway, you can see this is a sort of, an English refuge outside of London, this area of Essex. And so it was with some shock that the residents here found that apparently 200 young urban youths decided to get their machetes, get their knives, and go rampaging through their village, through their little area. This was quite a shock to these people. Here's Peter, who lives on the same road as Elm Park Primary School. And on Saturday, it was apparently a 16th birthday party that was ambushed by over 50 youths. And he says there were a good 300-400 kids running up and down the road being chased by police. This is going to come to those areas of the country that have not yet been diversified. This is the future. This is what is going to happen. And so there's a great write-up of it here, because what had happened is this primary school was hosting a party of some sort on Saturday evening, and it was crashed. I'm not going to play the video just because lots of machete wielding, but you can see it's 50 or so urban youths had broken into this primary school in Essex and started terrorising the children.
Also, a primary school, if you're outside of the UK, means a school for children under 11.
So very young. So something like 5 to 11 is primary school age. And I'm just going to read through this article. Just feel free to jump in whenever you're sufficiently annoyed with what
I'm already annoyed.
Yeah, I know.
Already annoyed.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at this and I'm... if there was any last vestige of liberalism within me, this story is draining it out of me. I'm very vengeful of this. So the Daily Mail tells us 3 teenagers, so 3 out of 50, right, that broke in, and out of the 400 or so that were running up and down the road, only 3 of them have been arrested, right, after a gang of youths crashed a birthday party at a school and stabbed 2 teenagers. So 2 people stabbed, 2 kids stabbed, right? It's been reported that more than 50 youths armed with knives and machetes ran into Elm Park Primary School Hall in Havering, Essex around 9 p.m. The fighting lasted until 11 p.m. before 3 teenagers were arrested on suspicion of assaulting emergency workers, but they stabbed teenagers. So why...
How many hours did this go on for? For
2
about
hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
So for 2 hours, there were just gangs with machetes that crushed this party,
And stabbed 2 teenagers. Yeah.
stabbed 2 teenagers, and it just carried on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. It's when you put it like that, it's like, right, so they had the birthday party at this kid's primary school was at the mercy of this gang of barbarians for 2 whole hours before anyone got arrested.
Is there any word about why the police response was so slow?
Not yet.
Of course not.
Maybe they were afraid of being called racist or something.
Oh, I don't doubt that's the case. But this is all a bit breaking. But so, yes, 2 teenagers, 16 and 19, were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening knife injuries. So 2 people got stabbed. Thankfully, it looks like they're going to survive. Footage from the scene shows dozens of children fleeing the hall screaming as individuals in the back of the room can be seen raising weapons above their heads. Right. This is literally the sort of thing you expect to see in the Congo. Right. This is literally the sort of thing you expect to see in war zones.
In Rwanda.
In Rwanda. This is mad, and this is happening in an English area of England. This is not getting better. This is going to get worse. One local resident said it was total chaos. We saw between 40 and 50 youths running through the streets. We think they had knives. They were seen dropping weapons in people's driveways and running away. They were attacking the police. There were so many of them that the police had to just disperse them. We couldn't believe what we saw. They were all aged 16 and over, and they were not from here. Our road is normally so quiet. Things like this don't happen here. This is why we're all so shocked that this happened. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
Has this got to be a gangland thing, a territorial dispute, perhaps? I don't know. It's got that flavour to it.
But it's not gang territory, is it? That's the thing.
No, well, it's very much outside of their remit.
It's an English area that has essentially been invaded by these groups. Now, the chances are they haven't had to travel very far, right? The chances are they've travelled from this sort of area, but this is not the normal people who live around down here.
I mean, this is just further proof of the trend that we've already spotted, that the diversity isn't going to stick to its enclaves, it's going to spread out. I mean, the best example of that was that small village in France of, 160 people?
Yep.
Where loads, I think it was Muslims, turned up, 15, 16 Muslims armed with machetes and knives, and they murdered a 16-year-old boy.
Yes.
Pretty much for no reason. They just turned up and started trouble on purpose. And their purpose was to basically go out and hurt white people in response to that Muslim kid that got shot in, I think it was Paris, somewhere in France, he drove away from armed police and got shot. And so they were out to basically...
ethnic revenge.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to see a lot more of that. And it's not something that we should have to put up with, obviously.
I mean, I think that the primary sin of the government is that they have communicated that they are not going to enforce the law when it comes to particular ethnic groups, and when it comes to particular people of particular backgrounds. When they do this, they create a gap of law enforcement and a vacuum. And nature doesn't like vacuums. It is going to be filled, and it is going to be filled by mob behavior. Now, I don't know. Maybe it hasn't happened there before, and I completely accept if the locals say that it hasn't happened here before. But it does seem to be happening a lot in several areas, and it seems that the number of such incidents arise, and also the gap of law enforcement is making it incredibly easy for gangs to recruit young children.
There's also a very frustrating thing on top of that of people are aware that law and order has more or less broken down and that you're sort of on your own, but you can't actually do anything to defend yourself. You can't, it's not like the United States in some states where you can conceal carry a weapon and defend yourself, which of course, the great equalizer, if you're a woman alone at night and you've got, you're concealed carrying a gun, you're going to feel a lot safer. You're going to feel like you're more comfortable walking down that street. But we don't have that luxury here. We don't have the ability to defend ourselves. And, even with the best combat experience in the world, if a gang of 50 people descends on you, it doesn't matter your experience. It doesn't matter how quick you can run, because inevitably you're going to be caught, and who knows what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a miracle that no one died from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 50 kids turn up with machetes.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully that no one died. And it's just, okay, well, what I want to know what the Guardian Easter thinks is going through their minds. I want to know what they think these kids are doing. I know I say kids, but they're all adults. And this is always done because of because of weakness on our part. Right?
I think most probably they're looking at this behavior and they say these are going to be our future voters.
Well, no doubt that that's what they think. But the issue being, this is only possible because of our profound weakness as a society, right? We've invited them in, and now they have access to our soft underbelly, which is our children's primary schools. And the question is, okay, well, are they going to respect us? Are they going to respect our boundaries, our customs? Are they going to be decent and kind? No, they're not. They think of that as being weak and pathetic because they come from a gang culture where strength is the only thing that matters. The ability to inflict pain is the only thing that they understand. Yeah. You're not going to sit down and have a reasoned argument with any of these people. They won't comprehend it.
Absolutely the case. And it doesn't mean that I think people who are civilized need to start comparing themselves against barbarian standards, but I will say that there is something that a lot of people don't pick out of, is that it's the civilized standards that are not being met by the people who are, let's say, civilized. Because if one of the main aspects of an ethical barometer of a society is care about their children, if things like that don't motivate people and say, I don't want this for my children, that's a serious moral failing, not according to barbarian standards, but according to civilized standards.
100%. I mean, the barbarian literally respects strength. Right? Yeah. That's why they're armed. That's why they're
you can't convince everyone.
Well, no, exactly. But it's not even that you can't convince everyone. The barbarian culture is specifically defined as being uncivilized, as in unresponsive to not only reason but also competing moral claims. Right? The claims are settled with violence, which is why we're seeing the machete fights in Birmingham.
It's collective honor. I mean, it was an honor killing, thankfully, but it looks like it's the behavior that leads towards this mentality.
Absolutely, but the point is, they're not asking for a redress of grievances here. What they're doing is saying, no, we're going to stab someone. I mean, they stabbed 2 people. What they're saying here is that violence is the way that we deal with our problems, and you're weak.
Yeah, you're communicating, we're going to get away with it.
Yes, you're profoundly weak. You're not going to physically stop us. We're going to come here. We're going to do whatever we want. And then you're going to arrest only 3 of us. So if you're part of the 400-strong mob of barbarians that have descended on this little English area, well, the chances are you're going to get away with it. The chances are you're not going to be arrested.
And how much are you willing to bet that the 3 that are going to be arrested, that are going to be let out, is just for the article? Exactly. For the articles, they're going to say, yeah, but some were arrested.
Yeah, we've arrested them. Oh, well, then that's okay. And then 2 weeks later, they just get, suspended sentences or something. So anyway, we'll carry on. So the people of this of Elm Road say, our road was closed off for ages due to this, and we were told that a serious incident had happened. One mother claimed her daughter, 15, had also been taken to hospital after being attacked on a train by the same mob of youths who ran from the party. So they'd gotten on a train, come to this area, assaulted a girl on the way, and then gone and stormed through this party and stabbed 2 kids. This is mad. If this isn't enough to make us go, okay, someone needs to be severely punished for this, right? Because the only thing they understand is pain. Right? You can't reason with them. You can't even say, look, you're going to go to jail for 30 years for this or something like that. They don't think in these sorts of terms.
I'm going to say something
is much more immediate, as in, will I win? Will I get a dopamine high off of this after defeating you? Or will I scream in pain because you've defeated me? Right? That's all these people understand. Sorry, go on, Josh.
I was going to say that if they've got to around, the age of 16 plus,
these are
and they're behaving like this, I'm going to say something very controversial here. I don't think these people are redeemable if they're turning up to events like this. I think the only...
They behave like this? I mean, what are you...
The only response is to either repatriate them or some sort of corporal punishment at the very least.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lot more punitive than that, but I think it would be a start, right?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, it's got to be punitive punishment. It's got to be corporal punishment. This is why we used to flog people. We used to flog people for doing stuff like this.
Yeah, because people who, it wouldn't be your regular English teenagers up to no good on a weekend, is it? We never did this.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We used to get up to no good, but nothing like this.
No.
And the thing is, if we did do something like this, it would be completely justified to have flogged us, right? Mm-hmm. Like my dad would kick my ass if I'd done anything like this when I was a teenager.
I'd be disowned. I'd be thrown out on the street, probably.
I'd be beaten first, but rightly so. Mm. But the point being is, we prior to the sort of second half of the 20th century, we had no qualms about physically punishing this kind of behavior. Absolutely none.
Carl, I want to go back a bit 2 minutes ago on what you said, is that some people you can't argue with. That's why we need the law, basically.
Yeah.
We don't
It's like
automatically
force. It's
exactly.
why you have to have force.
We don't live in Shire, let's say, from Lord of the Rings, where you don't need things.
Well, we
like
used to in
Yeah,
some
we
parts.
used to, but
okay, I mean, let's say
even-
human history. But what you described before as what you do is what has always been done.
yes,
Even before this, tried this attempt to portray everyone in woke terms and say the oppressor and oppressed. People who act like that are acting like savages.
Yes.
And the myth of the noble savage is really what is in the minds of the state when they are allowing such weakness to get hold of society, and they portray such weakness to be virtue.
There's no nobility in savagery, though. It's one of the
Savagery is savage.
Yeah, it's one of the most disgusting uses of the human condition.
the point you made about the Shire, even in the Shire, if you go back 100 years, we had the death penalty, we had corporal punishment, we had a strict understanding of when lines had been crossed. Like the society itself, the strong society, punishes its criminals with a maximum force. It makes sure that if you do anything, I mean this sort of thing never happened, but like anything, can you imagine go back 100 years and showing them this, and they'd be like, oh well, then you're going to hang them, right? You're going to hang the three ringleaders you've arrested, and you'll have the rest of them flogged for being a part of that gang, being involved in it, for being in the proximity of it. You get a flogging. And the thing is, what's this going to teach them? This is going to teach them we will not tolerate this.
I think people forget that the sort of Shire utopia that we once had was a very deliberate invention. It was created by the will of man and, endeavouring...
Didn't fall out of the heavens.
No, it was
an accident.
us endeavouring to enforce the law and enforce it fairly. And I mean, I really like the statistic. I mean, saying I like it is a bit strange, but what is it? 1 in every 100 men in England at one point in history were hung until dead.
You know what? They may have been convicted, but the juries would be the ones who end up deciding. So it would require a universal vote on the jury.
Okay.
And a lot of the time where the guy would be convicted and the punishment would be death, if there was a mitigating circumstance, like a percentage of the jury would actually vote against, just to make sure he got convicted, but he didn't get hanged because, in his mitigating circumstance was unfair or whatever. And so actually there were far fewer hangings than you think, but it's the threat of the hanging looming over everyone's head.
Well, it's your fate basically put in other people's hands, isn't it?
Exactly. And so it didn't happen as much as you think, but it was definitely something that was a strong deterrent. But these people have no deterrent. That's the issue, right? There is no goddamn deterrent here.
Got no father at home that will discipline them
Exactly.
quite a lot of the time as well.
Exactly.
I believe there is, but the point is
there
that
could be. I mean,
there could be. And when you have people who regularly disrespect society, you need to do what you must.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is that law has always this element of habituation. So as you said before, there were hangings, there were severe punishments with respect to particular crimes, because that functioned as a deterrent in people's mind. It habituated people into thinking that there will be consequences. And we come to events like these that are becoming more and more, not popular, but we see more common. And I'm just asking myself, what does the state want to do with the way they approach them? How does the Labour approach on this issue habituate them to think?
or the conservative approach.
And the conservative approach, because they were governing for 14 years and they didn't do a good job.
These
but also,
people probably only remember a conservative government until right.
Yes, but also, how does this habituate the population that looks at this and doesn't feel safe in their own country?
Yeah.
It's very negatively.
Yeah, there's nothing good to say about it. It's like, again, I just think everyone involved should just be rounded up and flogged. No, I really mean it. Like,
No, I
don't
agree.
know what you think you were doing, but what we're going to do in response to that is flog every single one of you and make sure that your community is well aware that the second any of you start thinking of anything like this, floggings, right? That's just what it's going to be, because these people are not persuaded by moralizing. Oh, but what if that was you? What if that was your kids? They don't care about hypothetical conditionals.
It needs the El Salvador style approach, doesn't it? It needs a heavy, almost martial hand
And
to
it's
clear up the mess that has been created
And
in
it's
our
the only way
civilization.
you're going to stop these people from doing this kind of thing. Because while you take any other approach, they're just going to say, oh, these people are weak and we can keep doing this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going to let us out on remand or on suspended sentence. Or whatever. Oh, we can just keep doing this then. That means they're permissive of this, or they're too weak to stop us. And if we're strong, which theoretically I guess they think they must be, then we can carry on. I mean, like this, the daughter who got attacked on the train, she's in hospital at the moment because she got attacked, presumably with a knife. But a Met Police spokesman said, well, the police were called out at 9 o'clock on the Saturday with the reports of fighting. The officers engaged with a number of the teenagers who became aggressive towards them. Right, so there we go. The teenagers all turn up. They're all causing trouble. The officers go down and talk to them, and the teenagers start becoming aggressive. Okay, then arrest them. Beat them to the floor. Arrest them. Because, I mean, when I was a kid, if I'd got aggressive with a bunch of cops, I would have been face down on the floor with my hands tied behind my back and probably a split lip or something, right? And rightfully so. We're supposed to be policing by consent in this country. Do you think you can police these people by consent? Well, the police have found out, no, you can't, actually. If you go down there and try and talk them out of terrorizing a small town, then they get aggressive. Anyway, so the next thing is after this, 2 individuals got knife injuries. And a couple of them were taken to East London Police Station. They were bailed to return for questioning later today. I'm sure they're going to return. We'll bail you, but you'll come back like good boys, won't you? No, the hell they will.
There shouldn't be bail for violent crime.
No, they shouldn't. It's literally that simple.
It's so ridiculous that even exists.
You took a machete to a kid's school? Well,
anyway, come back, yeah.
Yeah, come back tomorrow. Yeah, it's insane. And what must they think? They must think we're weak and we don't care, right? But the question, we're going to talk about the online harms bill in a minute. It's like, okay, well, and that's going to be used as a method to censor social media. It's like, okay, how do we think this was organized? What this is on various WhatsApp groups or social media, these kids got together and were like, oh, well, there's this person over there. There's no defenses to this school at all. If hundreds of us just turn up with machetes and knives, they can't stop us, and nobody did. So this is not like some sort of random occurrence. This is something they coordinated. They all got together and said, yeah, this will be fun. This will be funny. There's no dangers for us doing this. There's no way they're going to stop us. Probably nothing's going to happen. We'll get let out and we'll be told to come back tomorrow, which we certainly do, officer. It's unbelievable.
There's also the element of how much pressure the police officers have with respect to not harming them.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, I mean, I just beat them.
Hopefully the police is able to do the work and they haven't been hired by several questionable DI schemes.
Yeah.
But even if they have, the fact that they were there for 2 hours says everything you need to know.
Yeah. And so it really annoys me. And the Barbarians are not going to be persuaded by reasoned arguments, nor by our soft touch. The only thing they recognize is hard boundaries. And so we have to provide them, or else this is just going to keep happening.
If you want to support our work, you can always sign up to the website and watch Bo's series, Epochs. This one, he's talking about Lawrence of Arabia with Luca Johnson. You've got to watch it. Look at that thumbnail. And if you want to see all the other things that we're putting out, you can always follow us on X. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.